We all hit different time periods in our lives where we have to re-evaluate our identity, to sort of restore it and kind of find something that we didn't know we were even missing. And here's what I mean. I reached a point where I couldn't answer a simple question about myself, which was, who am I? I knew what my responsibilities were, I knew what my roles were, what my titles were, and different things like that, but I couldn't really identify myself outside of my responsibilities. And so as a result, I was lost. But one thing I learned is that feeling lost doesn't mean you've lost yourself. I just learned that it was time for me to rebuild a new version of myself going forward. So if you're in this situation, take heart. Here's what I learned to get through it, and hopefully this can help you as well. My identity crisis felt like this friction. It was like no matter what I tried, there was always some sort of internal pull that was pulling me in the opposite direction than I wanted to go, or at least that direction that I thought I wanted to go. I thought that I could fit into a traditional 9 to 5 per se, but that never worked for me because it's not who I am. And the more that I tried to make that work, the more disconnected I felt from myself and from those around me. And I never really felt like I was really being me. So I had to change it. Sometimes it's really hard to separate an identity crisis from what it really is, mainly a transition. And when you're going through that identity crisis, it can really feel like you've been failing at everything that you do, but you haven't. It's just that nudge that you feel to be doing something different that's more aligned with who you are and who you were meant to be. And that gap in between can be incredibly uncomfortable. It's kind of like renovating a room when you have guests over. You know it's messy, they know it's messy, but you have this picture in mind of the beauty that's waiting for you, everybody once it's completed. It's just getting there that seems to be the issue. A common mistake we tend to make is really confusing our work with who we are, and it's so easy to do. And I got caught up in that trap for such a long time. It's not easy to break out of, but it can be done. And here's how I did it. I had to learn the importance of separating my roles from my internal core. And how I did that was not defining myself by what I accomplished and what I got done per se, because those things have nothing to do with who I am at my core. The important thing to remember is that roles change, but the qualities that you bring to them don't. So keep that in mind when you feel that temptation to define yourself by what roles you play in somebody's life or even in your own life. They don't. The other thing I learned was that I based a lot of my identity on how I performed. And I based that on the approval of what other people would say about me or their disapproval. And whether they approved of something that I did or disapproved of what I did or how it was done and all these different things, I based those things on how I felt about myself. And I kind of built myself upon other people's approval, which is incredibly dangerous. And that fluctuates from time to time. So if you're living your life thinking about what people are going to think, what they're going to say, and making your decisions based off of that, you'll always be chasing something that you'll never catch. You're chasing the wind on that one. So think to yourself, is this going to be at the core of who I am? And is this taking me closer to who I want to be at my center? The question I began asking myself was, would I still choose this even if nobody clapped and if everybody was disappointed in that choice? So start making that decision for yourself and really begin asking yourself that question so that way you can start creating your own identity for yourself. I tried to think my way out of the identity crisis, but what happened was I ended up doing nothing but ruminating. I would stay at the beginning, staring forward at the end, and nothing in between while just standing still. And life was passing me by. What started helping me was taking small steps, little tiny baby steps, no matter how ridiculous, silly, or mundane it felt. I really tried to do those little tiny things each day to take me forward because it got me out of the mindset of looking for people to clap for me or approve of me. And once you get rid of those that need to be approved, it really helps you to kind of shed weight that you don't need. And then you can start moving your feet. Because taking those imperfect actions is it's still taking action. And standing still is only going to make time pass by. And you're still going to be stuck wondering who you are if you don't make the effort. If you don't start small and do little things, even if you feel ridiculous in the beginning, because when you're trying to move forward with everybody else's opinion on your back, you don't move, you stay stuck. So think about what you think and keep that in mind because it's going to push you forward. So just experiment, try new things, just do it scared, do it feeling afraid, do it feeling silly. Just remember that those feelings are going to pass and just continue to keep in mind that you're building your identity and shed the weight of what other people have wanted you to be and shed the weight of others' expectations and create some for yourself. Now, let me be clear about this. Discovering your identity or creating a new one isn't something you do once. Something that you practice day after day after day through little small actions that take you in the direction that you believe that you're headed for. And you're gonna have some days where you make a mistake, where you slip up, where you relapse into old patterns, bad habits, and things like that. But I really encourage you to give yourself some grace because it's gonna take some time to figure out what your new normal and what the new version of you is supposed to look like. And it's gonna be a season where you're gonna be grieving different things. You might lose some friendships, a relationship. You might have to change locations. It might not always be that dramatic, but there are times where that comes because when you're doing things to better yourself, you see who's benefiting off of you not reaching your full potential. Leeches will expose themselves, energy drains will get exposed, and different things like that. And you have to cut weight in order to be your best. And it's okay to grieve those things and kind of grieve what you've lost, but also look forward to what you're gaining in spite of it. So here's what I'd like for you to do. I'd like for you to make 2 lists that consist of 2 questions. One, what feels least like me right now? And the second one, what makes me feel alive or makes me feel like the honest version of myself? Now, separate your values from the roles you play in life because they are different. Going back to what I was saying earlier. And you want to catch yourself whenever you're doing these experiments that I was saying earlier. Catch yourself whenever you're performing just from when you're trying to manage somebody else's expectations. We're going to do our best to break free of those things. And it's something that takes daily effort, but I know you can do it. Give yourself permission to be unfinished and give yourself permission to change your mind because you're allowed to. This is your life and it's time for you to take the reins of it. Now, keep these things in mind. You are emerging. The parts of you that don't belong to you are falling off and falling away. And just keep going with it and give yourself a chance to do it ugly and do it scared. Now, please keep in mind that you're meeting a new you and you're letting go of the things that don't suit you anymore. So don't rush off trying to find some rigid form of identity just so you can escape uncertainty. You don't need the perfect answer to who am I? You just need enough honesty to move forward with the next step. So if this helped you feel a little bit less alone, subscribe and please let me know what you're questioning in the comments and I'll see you next week.